welcome both of you gentlemen. Thank you for accepting our invitation. And these people here are stalwarts from the industry who have been there, done that, have seen the industry very closely, lived the life of the industry very closely, created the kind of things, which the world appreciates today. And we were very fortunate to have them here. Let's learn a lot from their experiences as the master creators themselves of cinema, the art of cinema, how exactly a cinema is made, what exactly people look for in a cinema is what they perceive in their mind and then they create it. That's, I think, the bigger part of our learning that we are here to learn from them today. Sir? Are we on? Ramesh, are we on? Yeah. So, I believe, sir, this is also the time we can correct the introduction.
Oh, no, it was fine. It was fine. She said 25 years, it is 35 years.
35 years, 10 more years added to that, yeah?
It took 10 years out of my life.
We probably made you 10 years younger, sir. But then definitely the larger part is 35 years of experience that's what counts.
It's not about being young, it's about taking away that thing. That's invaluable.
Yeah, absolutely. 35 years of experience is simply invaluable. Yeah.
I think we're good to go.
Yes, we're good? Yeah. So, Nike, are you taking over? All right. Sir, we can start. So let's hear from you. The forum is yours, the class is yours, and we are here to talk about.
Yeah, I was like saying, you ask me questions like you were asking me in your cabin.
We were just having a casual chat there to understand.
Because it's very difficult for me to just start talking about myself that, oh, I'm the great guy. Which I'm not. I'm as good as anybody else.
All
So I don't know how to get into
So probably, sir, I would like to take over and yeah, sure. So share your experiences and we'll take the event from there. Yeah.
Hi guys, my name is Manoj Khatri and I have just become a producer a few years back. But the journey was not that. The journey started on a very low note and for me it was only passion. That's it. There was no agenda and I had few goals but not planned, absolutely not planned. So I will not take much of your time and I think I just want to give you a slight brief about my journey, why I am into this profession, and what excited me in this profession. So I have been a businessman all my life, okay? And generally, what happens, we hear कि boss, ये हमारा starting से ही था, passion था, ये करना था, वो करना था. Yes, I had passion from the time I was in college, okay? But due to a lot of circumstances, I couldn't do it, because of my family business, X, Y, Z, there were a lot of issues. So finally, at the age of 42, I thought, now let's get out of my comfort zone and do what I want to do in life. And that was filmmaking. So I joined a company called T-Series. For the first time in my life, I did a job because I was my own boss all this while. And I started this company without any agenda, just only following my passion about not thinking about the growth or anything. I just wanted to go with the flow. And somehow circumstances were so good. I mean, it worked for me, and I think it was not that easy what it seems like, So generally what happens, people come for glamour in this profession. And that is something what you shouldn't be looking at because that's not the agenda. So when I came into this industry, I remember my first ever interview in life was at the age of 42. I'd never given an interview. I'd always taken interviews in my business. So the gentleman across the table, he asked me, you are 42 and you have come here for a job. Like, are you sure? People retire at the age of 50. But to each his own, I believe, and it's just a number for me. And I feel if you follow your passion, everything will work for you. And there's nothing, they say it's never too late in life. So please guys, don't ever quit. That is first thing I'm going to tell you all, ever. That ever word should be very strongly put. And film production is a journey. You have to go through every step to become a producer. It's just not about getting the money bags in and becoming that's an investor. That's not a production. So finally, when I joined T Series, and they said कि boss, हमें आपकी ज़रूरत ही नहीं है, आपको करना है तो आप करो, आपको सीखना है तो आप करो. मैंने बोला मैं सीखूंगा. I mean it's okay, fine, don't pay me. But the best part was when I saved a lot of money in my first very film without any experience, just by the logics that I used and the common sense that I had about business. And that gave me a start where I followed joining TCs for another 5 years. And from production manager, I reached executive producer. So this is a journey where, I feel one should follow your passion. What exactly, everybody in this room, you all should know what you all exactly want to do. There are a lot of fields in media. There are production, there's direction, there's cinematography, and there's a lot of things, So you have to know what exactly you're looking for, I feel. So anyway, it's a journey where I think, you start with you have to really grind yourself, which I even did. I started at the age of, I started with the production manager, and then, you become a controller, and then you become a EP, and then you become a score producer, and then you become a producer. So there's a whole journey that you have to go through that, And one thing I had actually, for me, it was decided that I'm going to start my production house from day one. That I'm not going to do a job anywhere after 10 years. And I think fortunately that hard work and blessings of God has helped me that today after 10 years I'm a producer and I have my own production house. So this has been my journey, And I think I'll give this mic to Sir regarding your creatives, where you can share some creative discussions about what you have to say to the students.
So, even I started very early, like I started around 17 and a half because I didn't want to go to college. And I was very sure I either become an automobile engineer, my passion was in automobiles, or the other love I had was with my camera. So I gave this option to my parents. You want me to go become an automobile designer, or you want me to go do cinematography? My elder brother was also a director of photography, and he did more than around 70, 80 films. So they thought like it's better to send him around with his elder brother. So I started working at that age. And like I said, I always had this love for cinematography. Like I had my own camera which I had bought with my own saved pocket money. And I was good at sketching and painting, and I always got my teachers telling me that, oh, you got a good sense of lighting, you got a good sense of framing. So I thought like, okay, this is it. This is what I'm going to do. And then being that young and being on a film set, and those days, the early 90s, it was a lot of fun. So that was another thing that pulled me in. And as we went on year by year, I think that the interest became more and more and more intriguing. Like it's like, you get into it and then you keep going deeper and deeper and deeper. And every time you discover another layer into it, and that layer is even more interesting and you want to know more. So that's how I kept on going, and I think I pray to God that I keep going like this till the end of it. It's a wonderful thing. Like it's cinematography. I would just say, like we were having a word in Escape, and I was saying that, see, if you're taking it as a profession where you want to earn money or you want to run your life with it, I think you have better options. You can be on his team. But if you're passionate about art, and if you just have some love for it, and you have the eye for it, and you know it, see, everybody knows what they are. And if you know it, and then only you should go for it. So there is a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that go behind it, but all that should not matter once you see your picture in front of you, and you should appreciate. And see, it makes you happy. It's not that when I show my CV or my screenshots to people and they appreciate it or not, is like, okay, that's business. If they have to like it for me to get more jobs. But at the end of the day, when I shoot, and at the end of the day, when I see my rushes on my laptop, and I say, oh, that one, wow. The, the whole day's labor just vanishes, and you feel fresh, and you feel so happy that, okay, you got this opportunity to do it. And Mr. Bachchan was there in that image, but my job was better. So that's my drive. That's why I do it.
Any questions if people have about production? Anybody, please, you are welcome to ask. And if you want me to tell you what is production, basically production is all about teamwork. When you start a production, you have to face a lot of problems which are not seen. Okay, because what happens when we make a, we have pre-productions, we schedule it, the days, and everything has been, because there's so much of team involved in that. There is art, there is cinematographer, there's a director, there are so many teams involved in a production. Okay, now production is basically like a heart. We have to be everywhere and see to it that we execute it in the right way. So a director, he has a vision, and we are the people who help him to execute that. So it's a teamwork, And anybody who's interested in production, you have to be aware of being a multitasker, because things are very unplanned. You don't know what's going to come your way. Like there have been so many instances that whenever we have gone for a shoot and the weather is not supporting us, and now what happens? Now we have a very limited time. We have limited time, we have one schedule, we have to finish it that day because there's a cost factor. And that is the time you have to take decisions, You have to be that multitasker to get things done. That is production, Because end of the day, there's a lot of dependent on the production team. Rest, everything will follow. So you have to be a very multitasker and always aware of what is happening around you in every department. That is something very important, I feel, And yes, of course, if you want to be a good production guy or a producer, budgets is something which is very, very important, So it starts with budget. So if you have a good budget in hand, things will move smoothly. Because if you're already making a very expensive product, because there are a lot of other things which are, connected to production. Like, there's a pre-production, there's a production, there's a post-production, okay? And then there are a lot of OTT, then there's marketing. So everything is all under one umbrella called production. And in production, we don't have a limitation about only films. Production means you're doing events, you're doing music videos, you're doing ads. There are multiple things, where you can, production is always there, So I feel production, you have to be very, very sharp. You have to be a very sharp guy to execute it, in the given time. And that requires multitasking. You have to be there. You have to have your connections right, about your crew. Everything has to be taken care of. Because end of the day, everything comes to you. If one day is extended, the cost of the film increases. And we don't have time for that. We cannot afford it, So I remember there's one instance I remember I had gone to London to shoot. And it was in November. And November's London is like, the sunrise is very late. Because it's too dark, it's very cold. And we had this early morning shot near the beach at 7 a.m. shift. When we reached the location, we saw that there was so much of high tide that we couldn't shoot. Now what? Now what? That is the tough part, Now you have to take a decision. Because that is the only day we have. We cannot come back. So that is a time when a production guy, he takes a call, of how to take it forward and finish the shoot. So we had to walk down 1 kilometer with our equipments, because it was very rocky and everything. We couldn't take the equipment by transport. So we had to walk it down, we had to go there, we had to finish the shoot. So these things will come your way when you're doing production. And you cannot say no. There's no to no. You just have to go forward and do your job well. You have to complete, because there are a lot of people involved. There's the whole crew which is there, and you are the backbone for them. Because if you don't execute well, it will affect the camera department, it will affect the song choreographers, the action people, the directors, everything will have a loss. So I feel in production, you have to be very, very multitasking. That is something very, very important. You know, there's no, absolutely no. You have to just do it. So you have to be that quick, you know, because there's lack of time. And that the best part is if you can face those troubles, which everybody doesn't, you know. If you're ready to face those troubles, production is the thing for it. Am I right, sir?
That actually goes for everybody involved in that process of filmmaking. Means everybody has to actually put in their part of like it's like for those two things on the clock to be on time, there are a million components working behind it. So all the components have to be in place at the right time, doing the right thing for the
Yeah,
the one
correct,
thing
correct.
to happen.
Absolutely.
So the producers actually are backing creativity. It is a amalgamation, a collaboration of art and commerce.
Correct.
So both, see, the producer also in a way has to be creatively inclined
Correct.
somewhere. Of course, he is going to be very strict about the monies, because if he doesn't make money or he loses money, it's bad for business, and bad business does not survive. So even the art would go down with it. So both have to float together. But at the same time, having said that, the producer also has to have some inclination, like towards the creativity involved in the product. So it's a collaboration of
Yeah,
both.
it's a given, like, you know, we have to join hands and take it further.
Yeah, and every department, like.
Questions, please. No, no, that's not true. People do go for losses, you know. Today, nothing is a guaranteed thing. Nobody can give a guarantee. Yes, you have a good inclination to make a good film. Everybody wants to make a good product, okay. But you cannot guarantee success. You cannot. So I feel you have to play with your instincts and your passion and your belief for what you're making. Like today, when I'm making a film, you know, so we start from the scratch like the storyboard. Okay. Now we have to believe in that storyboard. You know, we have to believe in that story, whether, you know, this is really good. Is this something that even I want to see it? Or is it only commercially? Or I want to make money? So as sir said,
That's where I said,
exactly.
like, you know,
So
he
I'm
has to
coming to
have a
that.
creative inclination and understanding, because he's putting the money in that particular product. So
So we have to be hand in glove, you know, all of us. Now, if I don't believe in my story,
yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt, but see, sometimes there's a story which has been narrated or written. Now that could be interpreted on the screen in a million ways. So, so after the writer has given his story, the director has imagined and conceived a whole picture around it, and then the actors walk in, and then the actors have their own inputs according to their own image or the market thing going for them that time. Well, I'm going to be flashy in this movie, or so that brings in more changes. Then the producer comes in with his do's and don'ts, of course, according to the budget and the resources available to him. And then the cinematographer and other people who come in with their own creative ideas, they give their inputs, like we should see this in this light, we should see this in this way, in this color, in this particular perspective. And all those things, when they come together, they make a movie. So it's very difficult for them also, and for the other people to actually sink in. And the best movies are made when everything sinks in together. And like you said, they never lose money. They lose money when things don't sink in well. Mm.
yes, ma'am. Hi. See, what happens, as he said, it starts with a storyboard, right? So once we understand the story, we have to be, I mean, as he said, yes, we are creative producers actually, you know. We have to understand the story base. We have to understand the vision of the director, what he's looking for, okay? Now, when we hear the story, you know, we have a breakup. You know, we do a breakup of the whole story. And obviously, where you're talking about production designers, yes, there are a lot of multiple production designers in our industry. But there are certain people who suits some certain kind of, like today, a Sanjay Leela Bhansali. Like a Sanjay Leela Bhansali, if you see his sets, it's another something, it's another world only, you know. But everything will come at a cost. Now, end of the day, everything comes to a budget, okay. Now, if my budget is X amount, I will try to get that production designer, you know, who will do justice to that. So obviously, yes, when we sit on when we sit together for a creative meeting, we all are together, the cinematographer, the director, and the production designer, and we try to come out with the best result that we can get in a certain budget. In a certain budget. So I think a production design is very, very important, by the way, very, very important. So, like he's very, like too important in the film, because he will show you the visuals. You know, the visuals that you'll see, it comes from his end.
So basically, see, when you read the script, like if I read the script as a cinematographer, I imagine my perspective on it, like if I'm going to go very telephoto-ish on it, or if I'm going to keep it very dull and dark and grim and very top-lit, or I'm going to, oh, this subject makes me feel that I should put it in a very glowing and nice, happy lighting and some nice cake on the back. So that I imagine. That is exactly how the production designer imagines when he reads the script, and he thinks, okay, this is this era, this character, his room. Suppose if there's a character with a room, oh, so his room should reflect his character, his furniture, his bed sheets, or anything that is there. So he brings in that, I bring in this, and then we all bring it to them, and then they say, no, 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 this is too expensive. You got to cut this. Or sometimes they say, oh, this is worth it. If we put this in, this is going to add so much value to our storytelling at the end of the day that we're going to make some huge profit on the movie. So either or might happen. And then you take it like that, you know. What do you inspire to be? Then? Director. Okay. You want to become a director eventually.
सबसे पहले मैं आपको एक बात बताऊंगा, बिकॉज एज यू मेंशन इट कि प्रोड्यूसर्स खाली पैसा लेके आते हैं और बनाते हैं, For your information, I know so many people who have the money but they cannot make a film. I know a lot of people who have got amazing, like, build like so much money, but they cannot make a film. Because when you talk about a producer, see, that is called a financer. The one you're talking about is a financer who puts in the money. A producer is a journey, as I told you. It starts from the first round of becoming a production manager. You have to be there on sets. You know, your first designation is as a production manager, you know. And today, if you want to be a successful producer, you have to be a part of the film. Finances are never a part of the film. They are just part of the profits. So that is the difference between an investor and a producer, first of all. Now, we are people who are passionate about making a good film, you know. So I will call myself a creative producer. Because for me, it's all about my passion. I want to see a good film, you know, being made under my banner. I have got a lot of other ways to earn money, if I want to. Correct? So, production is also a very tedious journey where people don't understand, you know. It is not कि मैं आ गया industry में और चलो बैठ गया और काम हम भी. I am not from the film background, by the way. I have nobody, no film connections. And when I at the age of 42 can enter the industry and become a producer, so can everybody in this room, by the way. Anybody can become, like whatever you have
We've got
decided.
many millionaires in this country, yeah?
Exactly.
And who want to make films.
But they cannot
But they
make films.
can't.
They can't.
So
The actors, they refuse it. The actors straight away refuse it. Okay, boss, I don't need. The first question is, what is the production's name? अगर आपने नाम ले लिया, अगर आप मटका कर रहे हो सिद्धार्थ रॉय कपूर के साथ, तो वो एक ब्रांड है. करेक्ट. यही अगर आपने XYZ का नाम दे दिया, आपको कोई एक्टर नहीं मिलेगा. वो बोलेगा सॉरी बॉस, हमें आई डोंट बिलीव यू ऑल, वेदर आप फिल्म कंप्लीट भी करोगे कि नहीं करेंगे, वेदर आप रिलीज करोगे कि भी नहीं करोगे. So yes, you need a production name for yourself, you know, and that is what we all are working for. And what happens when you go through a journey of the production course, like from the manager to the controller to the execution and everything, what happens when you become a producer, na, you know the pros and cons of the film. You know, as you said, ki today I know one thing, ki when if I have a team, if I have my own production team today, I know where things are going wrong and where things are going correct. Otherwise, as an investor, I will just put in the money and say, Baba, ठीक है, करो आपको जो करना है. Correct or no? And that can be a big drawback to me. So it's very important to know the information about what your passion, what your job is. You know, and as you said, the other question that you have कि about nepotism. देखिए ये एक नया एक word आ गया है इंडस्ट्री में. ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं है.
I'll give you a very small one on that. Like, you know, I've been working here for 34, 35 years. And I still need to struggle. I still need to find a job. I still need to call people, give them my CV, tell them that I've done this and I'm capable of doing it. And I still get that. Okay, we'll get back to you. And nobody does. So it's not that. Like, you know, if I know someone, my daughter is aspiring to become a director. She is working as a third costume AD today in Baniji. So, you know, my brother was a ace cinematographer, but it took me 6 to 7 to 8 years. Like I started from winding those cables and plugging those dabbas to holding the camera. So it is a difficult journey. You know, Sachin Tendulkar's son came to bowl, everybody like put so much pressure on him before he delivered his first ball, just because he was Sachin Tendulkar's son. So, you know, that peer pressure, it's even worse than being an outsider. It's worse. So, and you know, you should not sympathize with yourself ever if you want to work in this industry in any form. As an actor, director, producer, whatever you want to become in this, if you want to get into this industry, first of all, never sympathize or victimize yourself. Don't say, oh, why me? It happens to everyone. And if you're that passionate, you're mad, and you're really out of your head, then you should get into this industry, otherwise not. I basically, yesterday he asked me, why did you start getting into this? Because I'm crazy. You really need to love what you do, and you just have to have that courage and that madness about pursuing it.
See, I was from a business background, as I told you earlier, correct? Now, tell me how many people will actually at the age of 42 change the profession? And हमने आज तक stories के सुनी पता है आपको आज तक? अरे यार बहुत प्रॉब्लम था, ये था वो था, स्ट्रगल किया, एंड देन सी टुडे आई बिकम बिग. But by God's grace, I was coming from a comfort zone. I already had a business. So this is just a. So I believe it's all about your passion. Struggle is a journey. Struggle मैंने भी किया. Struggle मैंने भी किया. जहाँ पे मैं अपने business में I was very happy. I didn't get my salary for the first film. By the way, I worked free. आज की तारीख में कोई फ्री में काम नहीं करता. I did that because मुझे future देखना था. I knew one thing कि I have to go be there. So to be there, I have to go through this process. And what happened, fortunately, in that first film, I proved myself. I proved it in such a way that I saved almost more than 1 crore of the producer. So I got recognized. So end of the day, the moral of the story is just keep doing your work, you will be recognized one day. People want good talent today. They want good talent. So it's not about, whether I'm a part of this group or I'm part of that group, it doesn't matter. Just keep on doing it because there are a lot of eyes around you, which you don't know. Nobody knows in this room, who's actually, looking for them. But if you are sincerely doing your job well, you will be noticed. That is, I believe in it. So never be dependent कि यार ये बंदा मेरे ऊपर कुछ करेगा तो मैं पहुंच जाऊंगा. नहीं, आप करो ना अपने आप. क्यों नहीं करोगे?
कोई कुछ नहीं कर सकता है. Nobody.
Everything is in your hands. Nobody supported me. मेरा गोल था कि प्रोड्यूसर बनना है तो बन गया. It's as simple as that. Correct or no? Because for me it's my dream, यार, it's my passion. सामने वाला क्यों जिएगा मेरी ड्रीम? Correct or no? So never get into all this I don't believe in this nepotism. It's just a gimmick है एक इंडस्ट्री का और कुछ नहीं है. लोग कर रहे हैं काम without being there.
Always I'll talk about a cinematographer, Ace, Ashok Mehta. I hope you people have heard of him. Ashok Mehta came from a very humble background. He worked like a production canteen boy also at one point of time, and then he rose up to become the most known and celebrated cinematographers in our industry. So it's not about that here. It's your hard work and you asked one more thing. इसमें luck होता है क्या? 100%, 110%. इसको कोई deny करता है तो he's lying. It is there. Because there are, like I said, so many components have to come together for that one thing to happen. Now you can just do what you as a component can put in, but those other things are not in your control. So that is luck. It has to work. You wanted to ask you that. They cannot be two different things. See, if you are the client and you have like a product, like you're talking like a feature film, or you're talking about an ad, or what? A feature film. So who's the client? No, I'm not asking in terms of enterprise. Like, who do you think is the client? Like, so you're saying like the director's vision, and how do we incorporate our vision with the director's vision? Like I earlier said, the writer, basically, it all begins with the pen. It all begins with a thought, a very basic one line that comes to your head. Okay, there is a guy who does this, and he goes there, and this happens. Wow, that's nice. That thought can work. Now that thought is elaborated into a story, then the story into a screenplay, and then a dialogue form script. Now that comes to a director. Sometimes the director-writer could be the same, sometimes there would be a writer who has got all this, and then the director reads that script, and then he likes to go ahead with it. Then he pitches it to the producer. The producer sees the pros and cons of the market, of the current situation of the industry, what kind of movies are working and not working, and they have their own mathematics going around it. Okay, if that works, now they come, then we come in as their associates to tell their story. So I always believe that the director and the writer's vision, I am the media which will translate it onto the screen. So my images, I always believe that every shot that you take, but every frame that you make is like a sentence on a book. Like if you're writing a book, you're writing words, a sentence. Every word, every sentence has to mean something and has to have an impact and take forward the whole narrative that you're trying to create. In the same way, a movie is made with millions of shots that you compile together and run that image on screen, which gives you that impact, which creates that idea of what you want to say on the people's mind. So when the director gives me that script, I read the script and I then think, okay, this would look nice in this way, and then I share it with him. And then we go back and forth and we come to a consensus like, okay, fine, this is how we're going to make this whole world look. So we create that world. Like, you know, in the same classroom, if I was doing something shady, like we could just put off these lights and you bounce something out of here, and this whole class ka atmosphere will change. If you open these shades and like the whole atmosphere changes. And again, the perspective, how I look at it. So this, we go with the director and I, and the producers, of course, he can talk for that.
See, I can just talk about a project that I'm doing right now, and how it started, So there was this small concept that I had, my team had, and I liked the concept of the story, and I hired a writer. And we started writing on the script. So what we did, we finished the story structure of a 27 to 28 page. We didn't do the screenplay, okay? We made a story where we can give a narrative to a director or a client or an actor. So this is how the journey starts. And after that, you decide after the story which director will be good for your film. Because there are a lot of directors with different genres, Like today, as I mentioned, Sanjay Leela Bhansali, when you talk about him, he's like, everybody we have in our mind, what is Sanjay Leela Bhansali? Like today, when we talk about a Rajkumar Hirani sir, we know what kind of films are, So every director has a genre, okay? Now, if I'm making a thriller or if I'm making a comedy, I know, yeah, this is the right kind of a director who will do justice to my film. So we give the narration to him of the story. If he likes the story, yes, then he will obviously have his inputs, about the story, because he might, be finding it in a very different way. And that is how we come together, we join hands, and we take the project ahead. So this is the beginning part of making a film or starting a film. And obviously then the commercials come, the statistics work, we have to work on the budgets, we have to work on the schedules, And the marketing trends, everything, the PN, everything will work on that. So this is the journey of making a film, It starts with a story. And rest, everything will follow.
One thing I would like to say, like I've been hearing this a lot from like even sir had asked me when I came, and like what role technology is playing and how technology has changed everything. I've always like, I just want to share this thought of mine with you guys. Like technology is just it's just a tool. Yeah? There's nothing new under the sun, I believe. Like, if you see black and white songs where this guy is driving and there's a back projection going on. And today we can do it on a phone with a CGI. That had so much going around it. You have to have a screen, a projector, and then the lighting has to match, and so many things have to. Today you can do it on a phone. So that is technology. But the thought of getting that done and what impact or what are you giving to the audience, that always stays the same. Like, I don't know, people tell me that, oh, AI is now going to write scripts or AI is going to take over everything. Okay, fine, then we leave. What do we do then? Why are we here? So technology, I think, should always be treated as a tool. And we should not fall for like, okay, oh, this. Like, they say, what have drones done to the aspect of cinematography? Nothing. Like we used to, mid-90s, if you see, most of the movies, if you see from mid-90s, you will see a song in Switzerland or Austria on the snow-capped mountains. And we used to go there, and every song we used to hire a chopper, and we used to hang out of the chopper. We didn't have even good equipment. We just trapped ourselves because of the passion and मैं करके दिखाऊंगा, and one day I will be the greatest cinematographer. So hanging out of the chopper, shooting. All that went behind it. Today you have a drone, you can just sit there, you can watch it on your frame and just do it so simply. So that's the only difference. The thing is what you're doing, what you're going to bring to screen and what impact that's going to leave to the audience. And on that, the audience reaction matters, and on the audience reaction goes down here. The monies.
The mode has changed, you know. The vision is the same. You're seeing a top shot only, whether you're seeing it from a helicopter or a drone, it doesn't matter.
Or a jib.
Yeah, or a jib or whatever. Like, you
See,
know.
it's just made it simpler. It's just made it easier, yeah. It's like first we had to build a crane, assemble a metal crane, which took a lot of labor and time, and then you pull it up and then you do the shot, which was very laborious and very difficult and very physical. Today you have a jib, you just pull it up and you have a 360-degree rotating head, you got a remote, you can do it. But having said that, you see the impact of the earlier movies. Those shots had more impact because it was done laboriously. It was wanted to be done. Like, I want this shot. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to achieve it. That was the thought behind it. Today, oh, we have a jib. Oh, let's just pull it up and take a top shot. What? Where's the purpose? So if you miss the purpose, it's of no use. Like I said, every shot is like a word or sentence in the book. If that word or the sentence doesn't have that juice or that meaning in it, the book is not readable. And that's, at the end of it, affects the whole business.
Correct.
If one thing goes down, it's like a domino effect. If everything goes down. And again, one last thing I would like to say is, like, you should not, like he also asked me, like, you should not, these things behind the camera people really don't get that much credit for what they do, and they should not expect. If like I said, at the end of the day, I see my rushes and it satisfies me and it makes me feel happy, that's it, that's my takeaway. If I start expecting here, I should get more interviews or this and that, that'll just make me sad, nothing more. It's not going to change. Yes. Okay, like you said, everybody with the camera thinks he's a DOP. That I agree. Director of photography, and then cinematographer, and then cameraman. So a cameraman is a guy who is actually just capturing, what is there in front of him. Cinematographer is collaborating with the director's vision and trying to create that world. And a director of photography is actually getting into the skin of the script and designing the whole world and creating it for the director. So there are stages, and a director of photography is a very serious post which has been very sadly treated today. Like, I have seen people saying, "Hey, DOP, idhar aao, khana kha rahe, unka bhi le yaar." So that's very disheartening. So that's one thing that I would, that's my frustration. I would. I'm sorry. What was your later part of your question? See, the only motivation I personally, I would say from my end is, the motivation was like, I love what I do. And, I'm ready to give up so many other things for it, yeah. Means, okay, if I would have been a director or an actor, I would have had much more doing this, like even lesser than what I'm doing. But it doesn't work like that. The only motivation you can have is your passion for it. That's the only motivation. At least for me, I would say that. I don't know. I don't see any other motivation here. What would be the motivation? Money. Money, you could make more money doing other things than this. If you're trying to get behind the camera, I don't think there's so much money. Comparatively today, there is more. And competition was actually always there. Today, there are more people, of course. There are more institutes. Like back in the day, we didn't have institutes. There was only one FTI, I think. And There was nothing, and even the parents wouldn't appreciate you wanting to become a cinematographer, going to FTI for 5 years. Bola, yaar, ye to gaya. That was the kind of reaction you would get. Today, parents are actually spending money, sending their kids to abroad or even good institutes in this country, and inspiring to make them good cinematographers and director of photography. But earlier in the day, it wasn't there. But the only thing that keeps the drive going is the passion for it and the want for I should get a script like this. Yeah, I should get, like, I was an assistant on Border One. My brother was a cinematographer. I was a operator and second on the film. So it was, wow, we're getting to shoot Jodhpur Air Force. Like, we're just sitting on next to the cockpit of a MiG, which is a great experience, getting inside a Patton tank or, shooting all that. Just that passion of getting to do it and having your name stuck with it, that was the only motivation. That's for me. I don't know. It could be different for others. I think
Anybody
we're
else?
good.
Anything else?
Day on the set. So every day, like in these so many years of my life, like every day on set is a different day. It's a new day, it's a fresh day. You can never say that, oh, okay, this is just another day on the field. It's not like that, because every day comes with its own challenges. It's like so many people working together. There's actors, there's your colleagues, like your production designer, and so many, so on and so forth. Like production, there are so many layers of production. Like he already said, like EPs, production manager, spot boys, everything. It goes like in layers. Every department has its layers. So now, when there are so many heads on set, and all the heads have their own moods, layers, egos, problems, inclinations, so many things come together, and every day in a way becomes different. And then the scene that you're going to do every day, the challenges or the meeting of the scene, how you want to create it. So all that put together, every day becomes a very new day on set. So it's very difficult to put it like that, a day on set.
That is where the production comes in the field. We have to balance it so well between the creative and the production team. I mean, it's so, difficult at times. But then that's the job. That's the challenge we face.
And like, on the recce, when we went to see the location, and there was beautiful sunlight happening, and there was a beautiful field behind with a nice green on it, and all that was there. After 3 months, after the production has done everything and we've gone there, there was a problem and they just cut off all the crop and it's not there anymore. And, and the sunlight is gone. It's a very dark, cloudy day today. And once we are there with the crew, we have to shoot. So then your creativity comes in, so you don't want to compromise on the look or the feel of how you have conceived the script, but at the same time, you have to get it done practically. So, it's a very generic, very organic thing, cannot be explained like.
Requirements change at the very last minute also. You go planned in the morning here, you have a call sheet, you know what scene are you going to today, what kind of equipments you need today. But once you are there on the set, things change. So
even the actor schedules change.
Yeah, a lot of
like,
things change,
an actor suddenly gets something else to do and he says like, okay, fine, I had given you 4 days, but you have to finish it in 3, I have to rush back. Now, 4 to 3 is quite a jump, and then having said that, ultimately the screen is going to speak for you. So you cannot compromise on what you're going to do, but you are going to work around the problem and get it done.
So that's a big challenge, and that is why you have to be so strong-headed over there, where you have to take decisions, because you don't have another day. You have to take decisions at that moment, You have to complete that task.
And that day is going to get stuck forever, because it's going to become an image on screen which people are going to see and judge and say, "Hey, that was like this." Like, the problems of that day are not to be told to the people. They're going to be there with you. So you have to work with all your heart and brain that you can to make it as good as possible. So, in the beginning, when I read the script, so like I said, like when I read the script, I imagine the film in a particular light in the sense, not literally the light, but in a particular world that you imagine it. You discuss that with the director, of course, and then, okay, we come to a consensus that, okay, fine, we're going to create this world. This story is going to live in that. So this, he continue from that point all the way to the post-production. So while planning, while wrecking, while shooting, and then finally on the post. So post will happen only when you have already planned something. Otherwise, it will be just a happy accident, either a happy accident or not. That's what happens most of the time. Like, अरे मैं post में कर लूँगा. Post में क्या करो? Means what you dial on the machine is what the machine is going to deliver. So you need to pre-know what you're going to dial in. And that's exactly what you're going to get at the end of the day. Otherwise, you're just going to manipulate and, rub, brush. It's not a clean product. Like, even a very basic, if there are cinematography students here who have the basics of cinematography, photography, like, when a cinematographer or a director of photography gets on the set, I think the first thing he should decide is his exposure before starting shooting. So if I'm going to shoot a particular scene, I pre-decide that I'm going to shoot it at this f-stop, and with this color temperature, and so everything, all my settings are preset in my head, and I apply them, and I create the situation then to suit that. I don't just point the camera and then whatever exposure. No, that is not cinematography. That is being a capturing cameraman. But if you are a director of photography, you need to know that, okay, these are going to be my parameters, and I'm going to create the rest of the world to suit my parameters. Only then you can come out with that look.
No, you're right. It's
Quite
not
a question.
consistent. This job is not consistent at all. And there are frustrations, to be very honest. You get frustrated, But you have to find some options, in the sense, like today, I'll tell you what. I'm talking about production now. If I'm doing a project, fine. There are a lot of people, who work on project to project. Okay, I was in-house in the production house, so there was a salary base, so I was consistent, okay. But then people who are on project to project, and once the project is over, so you never know, for 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, maybe they have no projects. Correct? So that is the time when they are very, very insecure, which is a known fact. But now if you'll ask me, यार क्या करना चाहिए उसमें, तो हम तो वही करेंगे जो हमारा फील्ड है. We cannot go and do a job for 6 months and come back. Correct. So I will always tell you one thing, in those periods, try to learn more, try to gain more knowledge about your profession or any field. Because end of the day, media is not limited to only production or direction. It's a whole network of everything, Like today, I feel if you want to be a good producer, you should know a lot of things about the technicians. It's very important. I should not be focusing only on the budgets. You understand? It's not कि वो business है, मेरा धंधा नहीं है यार कि हमने को खाली budget पे focus करना है. So what happens, you try to learn a lot about the other fields. I would love to learn about cinematography, just for my knowledge about direction, about production designer, about so many things are there. So that is the only way I feel you can be in the grind mill and still motivate yourself. Because what happens if you have that space, if you have that gap of 4-5 months, you are obviously going to get demotivated, and you will feel कि अरे यार अब क्या करें यार, अब कब आएगा नया project. So that is there. So always try to keep yourself busy with something connected to your field. See, learning is also a process. Never think here. And what happens, yes, I understand nowadays, especially in Bombay, when there are a lot of people who are coming from outside Bombay, they have their own struggles, which I understand. Because you have to pay rents and there's so many factors. But end of the day, that's your decision. ना? कोई गन पॉइंट पे तो लाया नहीं यार आपको, ये आपकी डिसीजन है. So my point is, when that decision has been taken, you have to face it. And at the same time, as I said, try to learn more, Like today, honestly, I would love to learn more from you all also, because you all are a different generation for me. I'm sure I'm going to take 2 things from here. So learning is always in process, and you have to always be very open-minded about your surroundings. That plays a very, very important role, Like today, I'll tell you one thing, the reason that, we talk about cutting budgets. तो बजट्स कट करना ऐसा नहीं होता कि यार आपने 100 रुपया बोला मैं आपको 70 में करूँगा, 70 दूंगा, ऐसा नहीं होता है. यू हैव टू गिव लॉजिक्स कि आप क्यों 70 कर रहे हो. तो देर आर, I mean, we all are friends on the set, but yes, there are times when we have arguments about our budgets, with the director, with the cinematographer and everything, like why he requires these things, So if you don't have knowledge about that, how will you try to debate? Or not even debate, I was saying, how will you try to be convinced? So it's very important to know as a filmmaker. I think today I'll call myself a filmmaker more, who is associated with all the fields. I take part in everything, whether it is a choreography, it is an action sequence, it is a direction, it is a cinematography. I am a part of everything. Whether it's makeup, hair, everything I'm there. And that becomes a good producer. That is very important, I feel.
Well, a lot of films don't have a storyboard. It's very difficult to storyboard or to our thing. It's done in some very big, elaborate projects, but mostly we don't make storyboards. But we have like from scene to scene. When we discuss scenes, we go on the like in the office and then on set and for the recce's, and even while imagining where we are going to be, the space that we are going to be in, and then we have that short breakdown in our head, and then we put it down on paper, like okay, fine, we're going to look at it in this particular way. So this scene we might have all close-ups, or we're just going to have a nice atmosphere going or whatever. So we just have it placed, and then of course the experience and imagination that goes, like we know each other and the director understands what I'm trying to explain, and we follow that. So making a storyboard for the whole film is a little more tedious. You can though.
No, I mean nowadays, I do make storyboards, when I do my films. What happens, because it gives a visualization of a film. When you know what you have in your head and when you put it across, so the director and everybody, they know what exactly you are making. Like today, I'm doing a project right now, so I am very sure about that I want to show winters. So there's a look of the film. So that is where we make a storyboard of the so we have the whole visualization of the film. It helps. I mean, it all depends, as Sir said. So it helps, to be honest.
I'd like to share one thing. Like I did a film called Pihu. If anybody's seen, it's on Netflix. It's we shot that film with a 2-year-old toddler. So when I heard the director tell me the story that this 2-year-old girl is there in her apartment and the mother is dead and it's a duplex and she's doing all this, I said, wow, this is her journey, like a life journey for her. From the bedroom all the way to the kitchen itself is a life journey for a 2-year-old kid. So, so then we had these plans going, like how are we wanted to shoot the film as it is written and not like in a candid way, not like an accident. Okay, fine, she's doing this, let's capture that, let's capture that. No, we want a shot that we have actually planned. So we had to work around so many ideas to fool the girl. Like she had a music tune which was her favorite. So we would just stick the phone somewhere and play that tune, and we have our cameras placed in the right lensing where she comes and she looks at that thing and just follows, and we get the shot which we need to describe in the script. So, these kind of things were very interesting. I just wanted to share that with you. That entire movie was a challenge, and it was lovely, shooting with that 2-year-old girl. She was so sweet, and she loved my ponchi, so she always came and played with me, and I had to keep a very stone face in front of her because she doesn't get too friendly with me and starts looking at the camera while we're shooting it. So I actually used a black magic, a small camera with CP lenses, small lenses, and we just used to stick the camera somewhere that it does not get in her way. Even the lighting, I just tried to do all the lighting from the, and we were shooting in a real apartment on the 21st floor. So I didn't have enough leverage to put the lights outside the window or anywhere. So, I just planned my lighting also. They kept the floor clean, kept the house as a house would be. And at the same time, with the shooting equipment around, it would really get difficult to do that. So we kept it as organic as possible. And every shot that we did, there was one shot I would say, like she gets onto a cupboard and she tries to remove the phone and the phone falls down. Now, actually, she was getting up, like playfully. We would just leave her and she would just playfully get up there. But the phone wouldn't actually fall like we wanted in the shot. So we tied a very thin, transparent string to it. And there was a AD sleeping down on the floor. And we told him as she touches it, you just pull it. And it'll create the illusion. She did that. She went up. This guy pulled the string slightly earlier, like before her hand touched it. And we had to do one more. So we spent some more time with her, and she again came, she again got up on the cupboard, and she looked down to the AD and said, pull. So she knew. So she was smart enough, we could just fool her once. And we had to use some other idea the next time we had to get the shot. So that movie, the challenge was to get your shot on the first take. Because the second take, again, it's gone like 2-3 hours. You have to think, how are we going to make her do that again? So that was.
See, I'll tell you, when you make a budget, the first thing is to read the script. You have to read the script, you have to understand what the whole story is all about, and then, we do the breakdown. We do the breakdown of the whole script, of how many characters are there, of how many locations will be there in that whole throughout the film. And then obviously, like, technicians, का तो एक fees रहता ही है, we know the basics, the technicians XYZ amount रहते ही हैं. And then we cut down to the the shooting days. So when we do the shooting days, suppose if we have a 35-40 day shoot, and once we break down that, then per day budget is very easy to get because your requirements are there. But that is not the final budget, The final budget comes after the screenplay. So first we make a very tentative budget where that's only on the story structure. And once the screenplay is there, because once we have the screenplay, everything is very clear with the scenes. We know what we are shooting today. How many scenes we are doing today, how many days we require. And then we do the breakdown of the whole budgeting, Yeah. Mm. Nee, let me tell you where the cost is concerned today. If we are going on a green screen or doing a virtual cinema, the cost is high only. Why? Because the post production is very expensive. When you're doing VFX, the VFX was a very major cost, you know. So it balances that actually. But I still feel, you know, personally, I feel I like to shoot on live locations, you know, because end of the day, when you're doing virtual cinema or when you're doing a green screen, that shows. You know, you can't. I don't connect with it personally, you know, because I like to show the real visions. Now, if you'll ask me, I can put a, you know, today because of such technology like a virtual cinema, we just need to go and have a green screen. I can show you Switzerland. Like, you know, we can show that we are doing a class in US or a UK college. Correct. But that will not be the right effect that we want actually, you know. That's my personal thing, you know. So I still feel, you know, I would love to shoot in real locations. You know, that is what I prefer. And yes, the cost is very expensive, by the way. So it's not about कि वो helicopter shot था that time, so it was expensive. No, today the VFX is very, very expensive. So when you see a film like Bahubali, the Bahubali VFX cost was 180 crores. Only the VFX, this thing, cost. So it is not that, you know, easy to shoot
And
virtually.
at that cost also, there are so many movies which are not so convincing.
Absolutely not. Like today you
It does
see,
not create that effect. That, you know, at the end of the day, when I watch that shot, it should give me that awe or shock or something, some emotion it should trigger. Where means I today read reviews where they say wonderful VFX, which is such a sham. Means it should not be, it is something that should not be noticed. And if it is been appreciated, it's like really bad. Like cinematography. Like, you know, the camera should not exist in the film. That's the fun of it. Like in Pihu, like I said, if the camera was there doing something in that room, then there was a third person in that room. That would actually be counter effective to the purpose of the film. The little girl is alone and she might be in danger. That's what you want to create out of that whole cinema. So the camera has to be quiet and has to be sitting somewhere unnoticed. That's the idea of it. So, you know, and like you said, going on real locations, like, you know, we have done films earlier where we went and shot in some, say, weather, in some location, and we could not finish the schedule. We have come back, and the next year we have gone in the same. So, you know, there was that passion from the producer's side, from the maker's side, from everybody involved in the film wanted that to happen because they believe that it is forever. Like, you know, there are films from 50 years back or 60 years back, which you use those one lines or the tunes just in your, even in your day-to-day life. That is the impact cinema has. And because of that imagination and that input, there were very, very passionate producers in this industry. Right now, that thing has gone down because of the working of the commercials. I'm not saying that the passion has gone down, because the whole thing has become so more complicated and more expensive because of that. But otherwise, there are very passionate producers in this industry who really, really want what they want, and they would put everything. They would actually put themselves in trouble to that extent to achieve what they want. Sometimes they would be successful, sometimes they won't be, but they're willing to take that risk. And that is what has kept and evolved cinema over the past 120 years in this country and worldwide. So like his question, what would we do in that gap, that vacuum of life, I call it for myself when I'm not working for 7, 8 months. It's like a vacuum for me because I'm alive only when I'm on set. Otherwise, I don't know what to do in the outside world. I'm like that Shawshank Redemption guy who comes out of the prison and I was here. I feel like that. It is that frustrating for me. But yeah, you got to live. It's like a spiritual journey, you know. You have to keep your uh, equilibrium straight all the time. So that thing. Then the passion of, like, there was one other question, like how do you, what is the motivation? So all these things, like you want that one thing on screen, and you want to be associated with that, irrelevant of the returns that you get in life. I seriously appreciate the producers. And like some producers who I've worked with, like Boni Kapoor, I would name one, but there are many. Even Mr. Devgan, Devgan, he's a very, very passionate producer. He's a wonderful actor and so a director. But as a producer, because we did a film called Raju Chacha with him. So he wanted to build that set. If anybody knows, see, like the palace that he had built in Raju Chacha, he wanted to build it in Austria. But for some logistic reasons, we came to Kashmir. And then again, for logistic reasons, we came to Ooty. And then Ooty, we had so many environmentalist problems and so many problems going around the whole thing. But he did not give up his vision. He said, I will get this, I will get this. And he got it, irrespective of the result, worrying about the result. So, you know, these kind of passionate producers are the ones because of whom the industry has reached where it is. And it will, I wish that the further generation gets it further ahead. Don't worry about nepotism. There's no nepotism ever. I say everybody has come from somewhere, yeah. You know, it's actually, I was born and brought up in, means I was born in Chennai, but I was brought up in Mumbai right from my childhood. It has become more difficult for me to contact people than from the outsiders, because there are so many outsiders, they all know each other. So it's not like you can't blame anything because of anything, yeah. It happens or it does not happen. You have to take your chance. I think I think we're good. Yeah, I spoke about it. Yeah, I spoke a lot about it. No, no, I spoke about it. Yeah, I think. Yeah, yeah. We even spoke about like Lana Patekar. We shot in Jama Masjid, Delhi, those lanes in a candid way. So that was another challenging thing. Like that was fun. And there, one of our production guys, you know, what he did was like we had a plan that will have the camera hidden in a Maruti van, and Nana sir will come and he'll walk and he'll do what he does, and he gets out of there. And we are going to shoot that whole thing through that camera in the van. And we had one spot boy running around, and he's going and buying something, pani, wani from here, there, and he's telling everybody, Nana sir aane wale hai, candid shoot hai. So these kind of things also happen.
I think we're quite good to go. And anybody else? Any other questions? Yeah. Never quit. See, where skills is concerned, I have more than skills. I'll tell you one thing. As I told you, I always believe in being passionate about whatever you're doing. That is any job. If you follow that, you will reach your goal. That is my belief. Maybe the journey will take a bit more longer time, but you will reach your destination. That is 100% sure. So I think you should just continue with whatever you're doing right now, but you should know what exactly you want to be. I think, what happens, so many times I have noticed, there are a lot of people, they come for a certain designation, certain post, like they want to become an assistant director. And suddenly you see them, becoming a production designer. And they become very good production designers. Because at times, when you're on set, you don't realize exactly what you want, Like today, I see myself as a producer. But I wouldn't, like today, I can see that very 1%, 2% inclination here. I wouldn't mind, becoming a director also. So tomorrow, you don't know what's going, where you land or what you're going to do, So when you're at the set, that is where you know exactly, okay, this is it. This is what I am actually interested in. I know a lot of directors who have, become story writers today. They have left direction, but they are very good writers. So you realize it, you will know what exactly you're looking for. And I think that is just one goal that you have to follow. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, and you got to be a little crazy. Yeah? You can't take this as business. If you take it as pure business, as your survival thing, it's not the place to be. It's very troublesome. Like if you're really, really a little crazy in your head and you want to really do it, come what may, I don't care. I'm going to do this. That kick has to be there, and then luck. That is a factor. It works for people. It doesn't work for people. But you keep going. Yeah. Means I'm saying in so many years I did these films. Wasn't easy. I mean, there were times like I had to run my family, take care of my kid, and there's so many times where we've just fallen down, shrunken, and I felt so bad that I've done so much work and I'm not getting anything, and then I start blaming people like, ये आ गया उसलिए हो गया, ये हो गया, वो हो गया, वो हो गया. But then that one thing that does not allow you to leave that room is your madness for what you want to do. So that is, I think, very important.